the Money Down, presented by BetPrep with me, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, Jaime Eisner, and Brentley Weissman. What a week it's already been in the NFL with so many storylines. Week 9 of the NFL season is here. Crazy to think that we are more than halfway through. And look, thanks to daylight savings time, some of us even get an extra hour to rest so we can be more rested for today's Sunday NFL action games. Jaime, are you all set to discuss some football today and hopefully put some money in the pockets of our viewers?
Yeah, I'm really excited just to talk actual between the lines football. This has been a wild week across the NFL, from Aaron Rodgers to Odell Beckham Jr., everything in between. We've seen some, medical things, a tragedy in Las Vegas, football-related issues in Cleveland. I'm happy just to be getting back onto the football field here to kind of evaluate the between the lines action of the NFL.
Yes, it's felt like we've been living in a soap opera with the NFL, especially this week. And again, only week 9 of football. Brentley, are you also to talk between the lines and actually talk some real football action happening on the field?
Yeah, excuse me. As Jaime mentioned, it's really been just an incredible, just filled week with all the news, the storylines, Aaron Rodgers. Very excited to kind of put all that in the past, get back to what really counts, and that's on the field on Sunday. So I'm really excited, and we have a really good slate of games. So let's dive in.
Yeah, let's dive into it. And really quickly before we dive in, speaking of football, shout out to Jets quarterback Mike White finding his jersey and game ball forever cemented in the Hall of Fame. I had to shout him out. I mean, a backup quarterback doing what he did, and now he's finding himself in the Hall of Fame. Pretty cool. I think we need some positive NFL storylines. But to kick it off with the first game, we're looking at Tennessee Titans and Los Angeles Rams. Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans travel to play the Los Angeles Rams, meeting tonight for Sunday Night Football. The Rams are a 7-point home favorite. The total is 52.5 in this game. A new face joining the Titan squad as Adrian Peterson joins Tennessee, one of the new sheriffs in town, we'll say, with Derrick Henry out due to injury. Titans fans should also get some joy with it being reported that A.J. Brown should be fine for tonight's game despite missing Friday's practice, so something that we will be keeping an eye on. Also on the Rams side, whether we will see newly arrived pass rusher Von Miller will be a game-time decision. Let's start with you on this one. Jaime, how are you feeling about this matchup?
Yeah, at the risk of not giving the Titans enough credit here, I still feel pretty comfortable going with the Rams in this game. This line was at 1.7.5. It's now 7. I put my money on the alternate line. It's -6.5. That way, I at least buy through the touchdown there. Look, the loss of Derrick Henry is huge. We all know that. I'm not breaking any news to anybody. But it's going to fundamentally change what the Titans would like to do on offense, and that is establish the running game, bring safeties into the box, and be able to throw over the top to A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Nick Westbrook, etc. They're not going to be able to do that right now. While I think Adrian Peterson is going to be a good fit, asking him, particularly against Aaron Donald and this Rams defense, to get off to a hot start is asking a lot. McNichols is more of a pass-catching back, which leads me to believe that we're going to see 30, 33, 35 pass attempts from Ryan Tannehill in this game. And, while the Titans can put up some numbers that way, I don't think that's the way they actually want to play, particularly against this defense. The Rams are clicking on all cylinders right now. It's hard to argue against Matthew Stafford as maybe at least, if not the favorite, deep in the conversation to be MVP right now. I just think the Rams are a better team top to bottom, and the Titans are going to take a little bit of time to adjust to life without Derrick Henry, at least for the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, since you brought up Adrian Peterson, shout out to him for turning down Dancing with the Stars to return to the football field. That's where we want you, AP. So again, excited to see him back in football. Brentley, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over here. And I think Jaime made a couple of really good points, and that's without Derrick Henry, the Titans are really going to have to rely on the arm of Ryan Tannehill. And when that happens, that means they're going to be scoring a lot of points. You have A.J. Brown, you have Julio Jones. Those are two very big play receivers. So when Ryan Tannehill's dropping back 35 to 37 times a game, he's going to take a lot of big shots. On the other end, with Matt Stafford and this Rams offense, they're averaging 30.4 points per game. I think that's third in the NFL. They've just been a machine. Cooper Kupp is unstoppable this year. Robert Woods is still doing his thing. They've been running the ball really effectively, in my opinion, with Darrell Henderson. So I think we're going to see a shootout tonight. We're going to see a ton of points. I think both teams go over 30. So give me the over of 52.5.
Yeah, ooh, that's exciting. We want a shootout, I think, especially after that Thursday night game, even though it did get a little bit spicy at the end of that matchup. And for my pick, you guys have been talking about Derrick Henry. Of course, that's not breaking news to anyone, but I do think Henry may be the more important to his team than any other player in this league. You know, every week I'm used to doing my King Henry. Can't do that now since he's out. But with that being said, the number moved only 1 point when Henry was announced out. So I think that is something that we do have to keep an eye on. The Titans also have been shocking teams all season. I do think that they will have enough to cover to this weekend. So give me the Titans at +7 for my pick in this matchup. Again, it's going to be a good one. Brentley, hopefully we get that shootout that you discussed in this game. All right,
Hopefully.
Let's move to our next. Look, fingers crossed. Hopefully. Let's move to our next matchup. We've got the Green Bay Packers at the Kansas City Chiefs. This one also a lot of people talking about. It's the Jordan Love show for Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers out, as this will be a chance for the world to see if Jordan Love just truly is the quarterback of the future in his pro debut this afternoon, as the Packers are a 7-point underdog versus the Chiefs. The total in this game has dropped all the way from 55 to 48. Though this game has been slightly overshadowed by the Aaron Rodgers COVID status that we discussed earlier, there will be lots of eyes on this one. Brentley, let's start with you and your pick for this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, what a week for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's unreal. But I'm gonna actually go with the Packers here on the road, covering 7 points. Excuse me, getting 7 points on the road. I just think the Chiefs. I have a lot of respect for Mahomes, Andy Reid, but they're just simply not a good football team. You know, they're leading the NFL in turnovers, I think, with 19. Mahomes is just playing extremely careless. I think he'll give the Packers at least 1 to 2 interceptions today, allowing them to play on a short field. I think the Packers will also be able to run the football. You know, they are not a one-dimensional team by any means. They have 2 really good running backs with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think they're able to keep this game close. So give me the Packers getting 7 points.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And no love for Mahomes boy, but that's okay. Jamie, what about you? What are you liking in this matchup?
Well, I think to play off of what Brentley was just saying, the ability to run the ball effectively and quite frankly, betting against Kansas City's defense, that's why I like the Packers team total over 20.5 here. I did not consult with Joe Rogan on this pick, but in my research, I did see that 27.5 points per game is what the Chiefs are allowing this year. They've allowed 27 points to opponents in 6 of their last 8 games. I think Green Bay is going to have enough to get the job done here. Maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I think Jordan Love's going to look okay. Is he going to look like Aaron Rodgers? No, of course not. But I think he's going to look okay, and I can easily see the Packers putting up 3 touchdowns against this Kansas City defense.
Not consulting with Joe, but doing your own research. And that's what we like to see on this show. Jamie, for my pick this week, it's a big week, right, of NFL news, but I don't think anything was bigger than the Aaron Rodgers positive COVID case story. It's something that we've all been following. We learned the difference between immunized and vaccinated. But going back to this game, Jordan Love, of course, being the big story, making his first pro start versus the Chiefs. We won't get to see if Love has truly learned anything sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, but I've learned not to lay the points with the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me the Packers at +7. Whew. So again, so much going on in Green Bay. Hopefully the Chiefs heads will be, happy about something.
By the way, Kelsey, that's a great point. The Chiefs still continue to be an absolutely abhorrent spread team. Like, it is really bad. So, I mean, all of those trends are on that way too. And I like the team total, but I'm with you guys on Packers +7 as well. The Chiefs just can't. So you see on the right sidebar, the BetPrep game trends right there, 3-13 against the spread in the last 16. That's rough.
Yeah, it's tough times with the Kansas City Chiefs. Going to our next matchup, hopefully it won't be as tough at times for one of these two teams. We've got the New England Patriots at the Carolina Panthers. North Carolina, time to raise up, right? Because Carolina Panthers have cleared quarterback Sam Darnold to start Sunday, and they have activated running back Christian McCaffrey. I feel like that's a name we haven't got to say in a while. Hopefully the mojo is back. The Patriots are a 3-point road favorite today versus the Panthers. Mac Jones continues to be a standout amongst this year's rookie quarterback class. The total in this game is one of the lowest that we have seen all season at 41.5. Jamie, let's start with you on this one.
I'm going to go against all of the trends here because all the trends are not in the Patriots' favor. But I'm going to take the Patriots to win and cover here as I continue my anti-Sam Darnold diatribe that I've been on for 2.5 years now. I don't think look, Darnold's playing terrible football. He started off hot, looked really good, had all the rushing touchdowns, then hit a wall. And at least he's at home, so it's not going to be a road Darnold game. But do you think Bill Belichick forgot how to scheme up a defense against Sam Darnold? Because he had a lot of success against him when Darnold was in New York. I like the way this Patriots defense is coming together. The offense has been very efficient. Even with McCaffrey back, which again will help. That'll be a big help, even with limited snaps for Sam Darnold. I just don't trust him. I don't trust him not to turn the ball over multiple times. I don't even necessarily trust that he's going to finish the game as the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Give me the Patriots to win by more than a field goal.
Yeah, with Sam Darnold, what's the saying? I think it's a candy, right? First they're sweet, then they're sour. I feel like that's what we saw happen with Sam Darnold's progression during the season. Brentley, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think Jamie hit the nail on the head. I mean, Sam Darnold's looking terrible. I mean, I know he had a couple games earlier, but when you look at who they played, I mean, they're playing nobody. But I'm actually going to go with the under here, and it's really because both of these two teams' defenses. I think the Panthers' overall defense is 7th in the NFL. The Patriots are 11th. Both teams can really stop the run, stop the pass. And then, honestly, both offenses are just not explosive. I know McCaffrey's coming back, but he'll be on a snap count. The Patriots, they're going to try to establish run with Damian Harris. So I think this is a defensive battle, a low-scoring game. So I'm going with the under 41.5. And I know that's a really low number, but I'm still going to go with the under.
Yeah, you said it with your chest, Brentley, confident in that pick. I think for my pick, I'm going to look, the Patriots play their second straight road game after last week's victory over the Chargers. Panthers, of course, we talked about getting back Christian McCaffrey back in their lineup this weekend, though I know he will be somewhat limited. But the Panthers are 1-4 on the money line in their last 5 games. Under Matt Rule, the Panthers are 4-8 against the spread at home. So give me the Patriots at -3 for this one in this matchup for my pick. All right, keeping the train rolling. Let's go to our next game. Minnesota Vikings at Baltimore Ravens. Vikings enter this game looking to get to 500. And though Lamar Jackson has been the gift that keeps on giving, Ravens coming off the bye week after an ugly home loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. And what should be one of the better games of the day with the Ravens hosting the Vikings as 6-point favorites. The total in this game is sitting at 50.5. Let's start with you on this one, Jamie.
Yeah, look, the Ravens are a good bounce-back team. 4-1 against their spread in the last 5 after a loss. They're a good home team overall. And I don't know if you saw the stat that Lamar Jackson has a crazy good record against teams he's faced for the first time. I think his only losses in his career were against Tennessee and Kansas City in games where he faced the team for the first time. Harrison Smith, who we found out is going to be a late scratch from this game because of the landing on the COVID list. I just expect a big game from Baltimore, even though no Sammy Watkins. Rashad Bateman's going to be active, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews. I think they're going to throw the ball a little bit more without Latavius Murray in this game. I'm really excited for the Ravens. I feel really good about taking them -6. I just think they're the far better team right now. After a really good start for Kirk Cousins, he's kind of fallen back down to earth. And, you know what his record is against teams with winning records. We know what that narrative has been for the last few years now. Give me Baltimore. I really like them in this game to take advantage of Minnesota secondary.
Glad you're liking Baltimore. Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Let's go to you for the next pick, Brentley.
Excellent Wedding Crashers reference, by the way, my favorite movie of all time. But I agree with Jamie. I do think the Ravens are going to win this game, but I'm actually going with the over here. I think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout. The Vikings lost to Cooper freaking Rush last week, so they're going to try to bounce back. They have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Tyler Conklin. They can score a ton of points. And the Ravens have a good defense, but they're actually among the league's worst in covering the pass. So this defense is very susceptible to big plays. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a big game against this Ravens defense. On the other side, as Jamie mentioned, Lamar Jackson dominates teams he plays for the first time. I think he's going to have a major, major game today. So I like the over here in a high-scoring game.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And yeah, the Ravens defense, they didn't get some nice tweets after that loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. I hope they didn't check their mentions after that game. For my pick in this one, I think we're going to be in alignment, Brentley. Both the Vikings and Ravens coming off disappointing losses under Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk, whatever you want to call him. Vikings are 4-11 on the money line and 7-8 against the spread as road underdogs. The total in this game opened up at 49.5, but the total has cashed to the over in 7 of the the Ravens' last 9 home games. So give me the over 50.5 in this matchup as well. And hopefully, I really hope the Ravens don't lose at home, y'all. Baltimore was not pretty after that last loss. All right, let's move to our next matchup. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chargers are in Philadelphia tonight as 1-point road favorites. The total for this contest is 49.5. Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles, hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Brentley, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
My thoughts are, unless Vegas knows something I do not understand this line. I know the Eagles are coming off a big win against the Lions last week, and the Chargers are coming off 2 really tough losses against the Ravens and the Patriots, but the Chargers are such a better football team than the Eagles. This makes no sense to me. This line needs to be at least -3. It's -1. I get the better quarterback. I get the better coach. I get the better defense. So give me the Chargers here in a big win.
All right. Jamie, let's hand it over to you. Are you agreeing with Brentley?
Yeah, he pretty much took my points. Look, you can look on the right sidebar. You can see how well the Chargers have been as favorites recently, how they are against the spread 8-3 in their last 11. But just at fundamental level, the Chargers are a significantly better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles. And if I told you right now, just pick one, who's going to win this game, I doubt many people would say Philadelphia. So I'm going to take the Chargers here on the money line. You can take a -1 depending on how you feel about potential ties or pushes, I should say, and odds there. But I'm with Brentley. I don't agree with this one. I thought this would be 3 or 3.5 for the Chargers, them giving that many points. I think it's a little bit hype for Philadelphia after blowing out the Detroit Lions, but the Chargers are a much, much, much better team. And Herbert should have a ton of success against this Gannon defense.
Yeah, that game against the Lions. Ooh, sorry, Detroit, for my pick in this matchup. This is one of the more interesting games to handicap on this week's NFL slate. PointsBet is reporting over 80% of the tickets and handle on this game backing the Chargers. Yet the number, which opened the Chargers at -3, is down to Chargers -1. Justin Herbert is 7-4 against the spread on the road in his career. There is no way that I can back the Eagles in this spot. The under has cashed in all of the Chargers road games this season, so I'm taking the under 49 for my pick in this matchup. All right, y'all. Geez, I feel like we ran through it, but so many great NFL games today. Coming up, though, we've got one of the fan favorites. We're returning the prop bet. Well, you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned because more of the Money Down is next.
And I'm back again here with Tommy the Hitman, BetPrep NFL Sharp, to go over some of his best bets of the week. Let's get right into it with an NFC South battle between the Falcons and New Orleans Saints. No Jameis Winston's for the Saints. They're going to go with, we're not quite sure right now who they're going with the quarterback, whether it's Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, but what do you like in this game?
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference to me who they're starting. I like the under in this one. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the book is out on the Falcons offense. They really struggle against teams that can pressure them. You got to see in 2 games this season against some really good pressure defenses in the Eagles and the Panthers that the Falcons only scored 19 combined total points. The Saints are 6th in the NFL in pressure rate, and they've really matched up well against this Falcons offense in the past few years, which was a better version of a Falcons offense that actually had Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. They held them to 9, 16, 26, and 16 points. So I'm not expecting much from the Falcons offense. The Saints, I've spoken this year how I believe they're a dead nuts under team. Well, they have the least amount of explosive plays in the NFL. That was with Jameis Winston, Trevor Siemian, or Taysom Hill. Huge quarterback downgrade for them. This is the team that has a top 5 defense and is a run-first team. So I expect a little explosiveness from both teams and an under game.
Speaking of offenses that are struggling, the Carolina Panthers right now will play host to the New England Patriots in Week 9. What are you targeting in this game?
Yeah, so the Panthers just been a dead nuts under team in the past 2 weeks, and that was ever since Matt Rule came out saying, we're going to be a run-first, defensive-driven football team. We don't know yet who's going to start at quarterback for the Panthers, but Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker are both struggling. The last 2 weeks, Walker, 3 of 15 completions. Darnold's past 4 games, he's under 5 yards per attempt. So, despite it doesn't make a difference to me who the quarterback is, I think this is an under team. New England, they're an under team as well. They've went under since Tom Brady left in 15 of their 24 games. And this Panthers defense that they're facing is 3rd in the NFL in pass defense and EPA per play. This isn't anything close to a plus matchup for Mac Jones. And plus, another little factor is that these teams are 30th and 31st in pass rate over the last 4 weeks. So I like the under in this one.
All right, to wrap things up, the LA Chargers are a small favorite in Philadelphia. Do you like them to cover and win this game?
Yeah, so I like the Chargers in this, and this is a plus matchup for the Chargers passing offense. The Eagles run a cover 2 and cover 4 specific defense, which is something that the Chargers have had a ton of success against this season. And let's look at the schedule for these two teams. The Eagles, their wins are only against some poor opponents, and every step up in competition they've had this year, they've really struggled. And there's 3 common opponents that these teams have faced. It was the Cowboys, it was the Chiefs, and it was the Raiders. The Chargers could have easily went 3-0 in those games, while the Eagles lost all 3 of those by margin. The Chargers have had a brutal schedule this season. They've come out of it so far 4-3. I just think that the Chargers are 2 tiers better than the Eagles, and I'm laying the points.
Maybe a little bit too much love for Philadelphia after just beating up the lowly Lions last week. But thank you once again, and we'll be back every week. That's Tommy the Hitman NFL Sharp for BetPrep. Hopefully you all hit your bets today. Good luck.
Hello and welcome back to the Money Down presented by BetPrep right here on the Draft Network's YouTube channel. Jaime Eisner, Brentley Weissman, and me, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It will soon be time to spin the wheel with our wheel of props, but before the fellas go head to head. As you well know, yesterday we had a full day of college football action. So why not rep your favorite collegiate team in style? Check out this t-shirt from Home Field that I'm rocking. Yes, I'm still rocking the Terps even after our loss. Okay, at one point in that game, it was tied. So there's a little bit of joy for us Maryland fans. Home Field provides premium, comfortable, officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs. And guess what? You can rep your own favorite collegiate school with pride, as we've got an exclusive offer just for you all. You can get 15% off your first purchase from Home Field with the code TDN during checkout at homefieldapparel.com. Again, use code TDN, homefieldapparel.com. All right, Jaime and Brentley, now let's get ready to spin the wheel. Let's bring the wheel up and let's see who we're going to first in terms of our NFL teams. We're spinning. And it looks like we are landing, the Houston Texans and Tyrod Taylor, somebody we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm going to go under here. You know, this is Tyrod Taylor's first game back. He missed, I think, the past 5 games due to injury. In the games he's played this season, he's only averaging 208 yards passing. So this is well above his season average. I think the Dolphins and Texans, 2 very bad football teams, are going to play close. I think this will be a very close game. So I don't see a lot of garbage time passing for Tyrod Taylor. So I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I'm going the other way here. I've been a big Taylor fan all off season long. I think he's pretty solid. 291 he threw 4 in the opener, and if he didn't get hurt, he was on pace for 290 in week 2. And look, the Dolphins secondary has been really bad this season. They're allowing 291.1 yards per game. I do agree there's not going to be a lot of garbage time. I actually think the Texans are going to win this football game. But still, even with that, I just look bad secondary and the amount of options. Like, who are they going to run the ball with? Phillip Lindsay or David Johnson? They haven't shown that they want to do that much. I expect plenty of passing for Tyrod.
All right, you guys make it hard every week for me, but I am going to have to go with Brentley on this one and the under. Jaime, I too am a big Tyrod Taylor fan, but I'm expecting a slow start for Taylor coming back from the injury. You've got to get back in the groove of things. So Brentley, hopefully we're right this week. All right, let's go back to the wheel and spin it. Maybe you can make it 2 for 2. All right, we're spinning, and we are landing. The New Orleans Saints. Who that? And we're talking about Alvin Kamara over under on rush yards.
I'm going to take the under here. He's gone under on this total 3 times in a row, 4 of 7 games this year. And I think the addition of Mark Ingram is going to basically put the Saints offense back to what they were doing before, where it's going to be a little bit split carry-wise so they can get more creative with how they use Alvin Kamara. Expect plenty of catches in this game, plenty of work for him, and probably be over 100 total yards in this game, but I'm not expecting them to lean on him heavily to run the football. I think we'll see more of Mark Ingram now in his second week back with the team.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going over. Even before Jameis Winston's injury, which is really, really terrible, they've been tremendously one-dimensional. They've really not been able to pass the ball with any sort of consistency. So I think they're going to run the football a lot. They're going to lean heavily on Alvin Kamara. I think he has a huge game against this Falcons defense, which is I think is allowing 4.4 yards per carry. So I think Alvin Kamara has a major, major game today.
All right, with this one, once again, Brentley, we're hitting the stride because I'm also going with the over. I do think it's going to be lots more responsibility for Alvin Kamara within the offense, right? With Jameis Winston out, again, a tough loss for the New Orleans Saints. So Alvin, make us happy today and keep running that football. All right, let's go back to the wheel and see what we've got for our next one. We're spinning, and it looks like this time we were landing, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're going with quarterback Trevor Lawrence, over under on passing touchdowns.
Jamie, I'm going to go over here. And I think this is really just because I think the Bills are going to beat the Jaguars down. And so I think we're going to see a lot of garbage time passing for Trevor Lawrence. Additionally, no James Robinson. He's out today due to injury. So I think even then we're going to see the volume really high for Trevor Lawrence. So I think we'll get a couple garbage time touchdowns in what I think is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, garbage time is what worries me a little bit, but I'm taking the under here. He's gone under on this 6 straight games after throwing 3 touchdowns in week 1, and the Bills have only allowed quarterbacks to throw 5 passing touchdowns all year long. Look, I agree with you. This game is going to be an absolute blowout, so there's always the concern if Buffalo's up 3 scores, 4 scores, that all of a sudden they don't really care if they're giving up yards and touchdowns and chunks, but I'm going to go with what the trends have been telling me, and Trevor Lawrence hasn't been able to get the 2 touchdowns passing since the opening week of the season, and the Bills just aren't letting people score against them through the air.
Yeah, I'm going with you on this one, Jamie. Duval, don't come for me, but I'm taking the under because Lawrence has only had 8 passing touchdowns on the season. He has not had a multi-touchdown pass game since week 1. All right, it's been a drought. It's just looking at the numbers. So, all right, Jamie, hopefully we're right on that one. Let's go to our next game. We're spinning, and it looks like now we are heading over to Cincinnati Bengals, and we are looking at Joe Mixon over under on rushing yards.
I'm going to take the over here, Brentley. He's gone over, I'm looking at my notes here, 5 of the last 8 games, and he's got a really good career record against Cleveland, averaging more than 93 rushing yards per game against the Browns in his career. I do think this is going to be a close game. I think they're going to need to use him against the run, and their inconsistent usage of him in the passing game has been frustrating because you never know which week he's going to be heavily involved in and which week he's not. I think they're going to lean on him on the ground this week, and he's going to have continued success against a team in Cleveland that he's pretty much been able to run against.
Yeah, I'm going to go under here. And really it's because I have a lot of respect for the Cleveland Browns run defense. It's ranked 7th in the NFL. They can really stop the run. But that being said, they're very susceptible and vulnerable in the back end. So I actually think Zach Taylor's strategy and game plan is going to be to pass the ball. I think we're going to see a big game from Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. So I don't think Mixon's going to have the volume to get over this prop here. So give me the under.
All right. So once again, Jamie, we're in alignment. I'm going to take the over. I think the Bengals, they just need to get him rolling this afternoon. And so I think they're going to put that into their game plan and make it work. All right. Let's go back to the wheel to see what our last one will be for our player props. We're spinning. And we're heading, out to the Denver Broncos. And we were looking at Jerry Jeudy over under on receiving yards.
Jamie, I'm going over here. Jerry Jeudy's first game back last week, and he looked pretty good. I think he had 4 receptions for 39 yards. And really, a new theory I've been doing is whenever the team has 2 receivers going against the Cowboys, always do the over for whoever is being guarded by Anthony Brown. He's terrible. So I think if Trevon Diggs is going to be covering Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy's going to have a major, huge day against Anthony Brown. So give me the over.
I'm going to take the slight under here. I don't feel super confident this line is pretty sharp where it is, but you start to look at, I don't love the way Teddy Bridgewater has been playing in recent weeks and just kind of the options that are available to him, with Cortland Sutton there, Tim Patrick still involved. And I think we're going to see a nice receiving game from both Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon in this game as well. So I think this is going to come up pretty close. This would be more of a stay away for me than anything, but I'm going to take the slight under here. I think he's going to be hanging around the upper 40s in receiving yards.
All right, so I think this was the tiebreaker for us, fellas.
Yes.
And the winner for this one is going to you, Jamie. I'm also going to take the under, even if it's slight. I'm sorry, Brentley. Maybe next week you'll give me in week 10. But I think Jerry Jeudy getting back into the swing of things. All right, that will do it for our Will of Prop segment. But don't go anywhere as we will return with more action, all right? So stay tuned.
Welcome back, and I am joined once again by BetPrep's player prop sharp Brad Feinberg to break down a six-pack here of some of the best prop bets for Week 9 in the NFL. Brad, let's get right into it. Let's talk about a Zay Jones prop to start us off right now. Where is it, and what do you like about it?
Well, first, those are two words that have never been said with my name, six-pack. So, but anyway.
Maybe different kinds.
Listen.
Not mine either. Like I only buy my six packs. I
exactly.
I carry one with me at all times.
Yeah, exactly. Mine. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Zay Jones. Look, and obviously we all understand the Henry Ruggs tragedy, which obviously feel horrible for the families involved. Just a horrible thing. And so I understand Zay Jones is going to get more run this week. I get it. Okay, but this is a player, Jamie, still, and he played a lot in his career earlier with Buffalo. Is just a terribly disappointing player after having a very productive college career. He's gone under this 31.5 times, 42 out of 62 games. I got this off BetPrep. 42 of 60. And the last 30, still gone under 24 of 30, even higher. Now, even if I go back, before that would have been 18 out of 30 when he played more. I still think this is a 60% winning bet, even with the extra playing time I'm sure he's due to get. I just don't believe in the player. Can he get 32 yards? Sure, of course he can. It's a low number. I get it. Just don't trust him at all. And I still think he's going to be far below the pecking order of players that they're going to in this game.
Let's stick with the Raiders here for a second. Josh Jacobs receiving yards. I feel like this is a topic every year in the offseason. How much is Josh Jacobs going to be involved in the receiving game, catches, yards? What do you think? What is the prop right now? And what do you think the result's going to be?
Well, it's interesting. Josh Jacobs, Jamie, I had the guy on every one of my fantasy teams last year. I wanted to believe that the passing game was going to be there. Coach Gruden said all that stuff. But I've learned, look, it's, show me, not what you tell me. And look, he is what he is. Jamie, if you look at his last 28 games, Josh Jacobs has only gone over this total 9 times. Excuse me. So 19 out of 28 times he's gone under. And he's only averaging 15.5 yards in that time frame. So you may say, oh, Brad, what's the difference between 15.5 and 19? Only 4 yards. Well, again,
winning and losing.
Right?
I mean, winning and losing is the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When you're talking about such a low number, 4 yards means a lot. Now, if you're talking about 108.5 versus 104.5 on a Devontae Adams prop, maybe that wouldn't mean quite as much. But 15.5 versus 19.5 means actually quite a bit. And plus, look, we do have Kenyon Drake there, who's more the quote-unquote receiving back. And I think we're getting value, Jamie, because his last 2 games, he did go over this total. I think we're getting a little bit of a recency bias. I'm still going by what he's done, really the last 2 years. I don't see any fundamental change in his role per se. I'm rolling with the under.
Let's talk about another AFC West running back, Austin Eckler. The over-under on his rushing yards is 65.5, and you're taking the under here. Why is that?
It's interesting. There's a few reasons. First of all, you look at Austin Eckler, Jamie, his last 17 games where he's been like, quote unquote, the guy on that team when there was no Melvin Gordon. Austin Eckler's gone under 12 of 17 games. So right off the bat, we're 12-5, and he's 5-2 to the under this year. And guess what? One of the times he did go over, he finished with 66 yards. So it was just barely a miss right there. Eagles are a pretty solid team, Jamie, against the run. And actually, here's the thing. I think Philadelphia, Jamie, and we'll get to that in the prop coming up, I think they're going to run the ball more in this game, which if they run the ball more in this game, it means more game clocks going off, maybe a little less time of possession for the Chargers. And because Philadelphia had so much success running the ball last week, I think they're going to even run the ball more this week. And again, this is a guy that's just gone under, and Philadelphia does have a pretty decent run defense. I think he's going to need, in this game, to get to that team, I think he's going to need 17 carries or so. I don't think he's going to get that kind of workload. Give me the under.
Hello and welcome back to The Money Down, airing live on the Draft Network's YouTube channel, presented by BetPrep. Thanks so much for staying with us. We appreciate all of you watching. We will now be joined by Patrick Everson of Props US in conjunction with BetPrep for the BetPrep Breakdown. Welcome, Patrick, to the show. How are you this NFL Sunday?
I am good, Kelsey. I'm in the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook. It's starting to fill up nicely. Fills up a little bit more here when the Raiders are playing because the stadium is literally, I mean, if you could tear down that wall and you had Bryson DeChambeau's driving ability, you could probably hit driver to the stadium from the front end of this book. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty good Sunday. The slate's not great. I think we can all admit that. But honestly, with the NFL, it just doesn't matter. People will bet the hell out of this stuff anyway. So here we go. What do you got?
It's so true, Patrick. We just love football, and we love the NFL. First game, Patrick, I'm going to Green Bay Packers versus Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of storylines surrounding this game, even off of the football field. But looking at football, Patrick, where is the money on the Packers versus Chiefs game?
Yeah, it's mostly off the football field, but it's totally impacting what's going on with the odds and what may go on tonight on the football field. I think what's interesting about this, Kelsey, is I've talked with multiple books about this, and almost all of them are seeing either good two-way here, maybe a little bit of a lean toward the Chiefs on the money, but there are a few books that have more tickets and more money on the Packers going in as the big dogs tonight with the backup second-year quarterback. Here at BetMGM Nevada, this line's been all over the place because of the Aaron Rodgers situation. It started Chiefs 2.5, and the Chiefs look awful against the Giants on Monday Night Football, but still won. So it went to Packers 1. Sharp play brought it back to Chiefs pick. And then the Rodgers news took it to Chiefs all the way to 7.5. It's -7 right now. And Scott Shelton told me late last night, a few more tickets and a little bit more money on the Packers. Even some sharp play on the Chiefs at -7 as well. But this has got a couple more hours to percolate. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more money and tickets coming in over the next couple hours. But the Packers are still a public team, even without Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of fascinating how this is playing out.
Yes, very interesting things to follow in that matchup. And heading to our next game, Patrick, Arizona Cardinals versus San Francisco 49ers. So what are you hearing on the Cardinals-49ers game?
Well, this is a mess because of off-field, injuries and so forth as well. If I hadn't looked right before we went on, but last I heard, and hopefully I'm right, and the gentleman in there can correct me if I'm not, but Murray and Hopkins still game-time decisions. So this line has come a long way. This was Cardinals 2.5, 2.5 early in the week. Now it's all the way to Niners -3.5 at some spots. But again, in multiple books, including at BetMGM, a little bit more, including BetMGM, I should say, a little bit more ticket count on the Niners. So in some cases, even more tickets and money on the Niners. Still taking the 49ers, I guess, on the hopes that Murray's going to play. I will say at BetMGM Nevada, behind me, Mandalay Bay and the BetMGM books up and down the strip, there was a significant play, let's put it that way, on the 49ers, and because of that, money is pretty heavy toward the 49ers, but that's not necessarily the norm at books across the country.
Okay. Thank you for that insight, Patrick. And heading to our next game, Cleveland Browns versus Cincinnati Bengals. We're looking at these two AFC teams. Where is the money on the Browns-Bengals game?
Yeah, this is probably the most interesting of the early kickoffs. Like I said, a lot of games that, big spreads are just not really that interesting, but this is definitely interesting. This is down to 2 behind me at BetMGM Nevada from an opener of Bengals -3. Now, the ticket count is definitely on the Bengals, so it appears the public is on the Bengals. Ticket count 2-1 Bengals. Money 1.5 to 1 on the Browns, and that includes sharp play that helped bring that number down from Browns +3 to Browns +2. However, most of the parlay action and so forth is running to Cincinnati. So the book, even though the straight bet money is running toward the Browns, is probably still going to need Cleveland to help bust up some of that parlay liability. And the total in this game from 45.5 to 48, book is definitely going to need the under on this one. Tickets 5-1, money 10-1.
All right. Thank you, Patrick, for that one. And another team, the Browns, dealing with off-the-field action with the whole OBJ situation happening in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But heading to our last game, Patrick, Minnesota Vikings versus the Baltimore Ravens. What are you hearing on the Vikings-Ravens game?
Oh, another good one, and this line's bounced around quite a bit. Went from, at BetMGM Nevada, 6 to 5.5 Ravens, then to 6.5, then back to 6. Now it's up to Ravens -7 as kickoff approaches. 3-1 tickets Ravens, 1.5 to 1 money Ravens. However, Baltimore is in everyone's parlays, teasers, moneyline parlays. They're definitely going to need the Vikings. And in fact, just to summarize the whole day here, the book and most books are probably going to need an outright loss by one of the following teams: Ravens, Raiders, Chargers, Rams, or Cowboys, perhaps even the Patriots. They need one of those teams to lose outright to help bust up all the parlays, moneyline parlays, teasers liability.
Awesome. Patrick, as always, it's such a joy to have you. We appreciate your time. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you next week. And as always, coming up next, we will have our Go for Two picks and this week's bold bet. So stay tuned because more of the Money Down, presented by the Draft Network, is next. Welcome back into the Money Down, where we will now turn our attention to the leaderboard after 8 weeks of football action. Jaime and Brentley, let's see who's got that first place spot. All right, it's Jaime. Congratulations, Jaime. Once again, he did his research, folks, and that's why he's in first place. Jaime, how are you enjoying that?
I'm loving it. This is I'm glad I could do it now with Brentley on the show, because we've had some big weeks with one, Brentley had a big week when I wasn't on. I had a big week when Brentley wasn't on. It was just, goes to show you that feeling good about my picks. Hopefully that we keep that streak going.
We got the popping of the collar.
Enjoy while it lasts, Jaime.
Brentley's coming, right, Brentley? It's coming. It's going to be a
That's
turning
right.
tide. And, I'll enjoy second place. It's just prepping me for first place, Jaime. So enjoy it while it lasts, though. Congratulations, Jaime. This is always fun. And now, fellas, talking about rankings, let's turn our attention to prize picks. And for all those that are joining along with us on the show, feel free to play along with us. Prize Picks is the easiest way to play daily fantasy. It's daily fantasy simplified. Who doesn't love that? Prize Picks let you create mixed sports entries. You can play on their award-winning, easy-to-use mobile app, available on Google Play and the Apple Store. So yes, they show love to both iPhone, Apple, and Android users. All right, let's go to our Prize Picks for the first one. Let's start with you on this one, Brentley. Again, I see you coming back on this leaderboard. Show us your Prize Picks.
Hopefully, this will be the start of a good comeback. But I got a nice little parlay going. I took some overs on some props on Prize Picks platform. So I got Justin Herbert going over 282 passing yards against the Eagles. I think he's in for a big bounce back game. I got Jarvis Landry over 5.5 receptions. No Odell Beckham. I think this will be a shootout against the Bengals, so I think he hits this over. And lastly, I have Damian Harris over 63.5 rushing yards against the Panthers, who are really, while they're good against covering the pass, they aren't really great stopping the run. So I think all three of these are going to hit, and I should win some money here.
Ooh, nothing better than winning some extra money. All right, Jaime, what picks are going to help you get some extra money in your pockets?
Well, see, this is a really fun part about Prize Picks, is you can parlay player props with fantasy totals, which is what you can see on the screen right now. The over on Marquise Brown, 59.5. A favorite prop bet of mine on the show. I expect big things from Lamar Jackson, that passing game. Deebo Samuel, I know he's a little banged up right now with that quad injury, but is just putting up a stupid amount of yards per game. And Tyrod Taylor, I think he's going to be closer to 20 fantasy points than 15. I think this is incredible value. All guys we've liked and talked about on the show. It's a good way to kind of mix the fantasy and the gambling advice and to put together a way to make some money.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like you said, that mixing and, of course, making some money. All right, now we'll head over to my prize pick to round it out, and I am looking at Kirk Cousins. I have him going over. We talked about that Ravens defense. I do think Kirk Cousins will be able to exploit that back end of the Ravens defense. I've also got CeeDee Lamb, self-explanatory with the over. It seems pretty low for a game in which the Cowboys, I don't know, I'm going to be looking at how many times they might actually punt. And then, of course, Nick Chubb also have him going over, thinking that he, of course, will be featured in his first game back. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident too, y'all. And again, nothing wrong with putting some extra money in your pockets. And once again, to everyone listening, join us on Prize Picks as we're going to make your cash out even bigger, all right, by matching your initial deposit up to $100 when you sign up and use code TDN. Again, double your initial deposit and get the best and simplest daily fantasy on your smartphone today when you download Prize Picks and sign up with promo code TDN. All right, now that we're done our Prize Pick, fellas, let's now head over to our Go for Two picks and our bold bets to continue to see who reigns supreme. So starting off with our Go for Two, I feel like it's only right to let you go first, Jaime, since you're leading us right now on the leaderboard. Show us your first one.
I will take that privilege. Let's start with a Brandon Cooks over 65.5 is the prop right now. He's averaging 73.1 yards per game so far this season. And maybe more importantly, he's got 210 yards in the two games that Tyrod Taylor has started this year. And I guess only 1.5 of those was Tyrod even playing in. I expect a big game from him. We talked about the Miami secondary numbers being absolutely brutal this year, allowing quarterbacks to throw for nearly 300 yards per game. I expect a monster performance from Brandon Cooks.
All right, we'll be looking at Brandon Cooks. Brentley, what's your first Go for Two pick?
Yeah, it's actually a game we talked about earlier, and it's really the Chargers -1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, I just don't understand this line. Justin Herbert is a significantly better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. And the thing that the Eagles don't do well is run the football. And that's really the recipe to beat this Chargers football team. You saw the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, their running backs have really good success against the Chargers. And last week with Damian Harris and the Patriots, I think they had almost 200 yards rushing. So if teams can't run the ball, this Chargers defense is really, really tough to prepare for because all the playmakers they have with Derwin James and Joey Bosa. So I like the Chargers here in a big get-right game. So give me the Chargers -1 as a go-for-2 pick.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And for my first go-for-2 pick, I'm looking at that Denver Broncos versus Dallas Cowboys game. All right. The Broncos travel to Dallas this weekend, looking to give them their first against the spread loss of the season. It's highly unlikely, though. I just have to say that. I think Dallas is going to beat the Broncos pretty good this week, if I might say so myself. Big favorites have performed well this season. Favorites of 10 or more points are 8-6-1 this year. So give me the Cowboys at -10 for my first go-for-2 pick. It might not get me a lot of love here in Washington, but hey, this is a betting show, right? So I'm unbiased on this show. All right, let's head to our next go-for-2 pick. I'll start with you on this one, Brentley.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson over 73.5 receiving yards. I think last week he had his worst game of the season, so I think he's going to come hungry today. He really wants to bounce back. And as I mentioned, the Baltimore secondary has been prone to allowing receivers had a lot of success. They're not covering the pass well. I think they're leading the league in passing yards allowed in the NFL. So I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a huge game. He's gone over this number 4 times already this season. He was 1 yard away from doing it 5 times. So I think he's easily going to clip this, probably have 100 yards. So I love Justin Jefferson here in this spot.
If you get the over, I feel like you need to show us the gritty next time on this show, Brentley. You're just gonna have to debut it for us live on the show.
We
Right?
can make that happen.
Maybe when he gets number 1 on the leaderboard.
There you go. Right, then he'll get
next
to
week.
do the gritty for us live.
Okay.
I love it. Look, the competition is on. Jamie, give us your next go-for-2 pick.
So can I interest you all in a bet that is cashed in 10 consecutive games that this player's been healthy in? Jarvis Landry over 4.5 receptions. He has gone over this, including the postseason, in 10 consecutive games. The only game he didn't was week 2. He played only 2 snaps. By the way, he had a catch on those 2 snaps and left the game in an injury. Brentley already mentioned earlier the no Odell Beckham Jr. Look, Baker Mayfield's always looked to Jarvis Landry, whether Odell's on the field or not. I absolutely love this bet. This will soon be 5.5 and 6.5 at some point this season at various sports books. So hammer it while it's still at 4.5, because if he finishes this game healthy, he's going to go over this total.
As Jamie said, hammer it down if you are going along with Jamie. And for my second go-for-2 pick, I'm looking at the Las Vegas Raiders versus New York Giants game. Look, the Raiders traveling across the country to face the New York Football Giants. Las Vegas is 2-1 against the spread on the road this season. And one of my favorite things to do in betting the season has been to fade the Giants at home. So give me Raiders -3. All right, for my next go-for-2 pick. Feeling confident in that one. And now it's time for our bold bet. And for this one, I'll go back to Jamie. But just a little disclaimer, the Giants almost had the Kansas City Chiefs, all right? I just want to say that, all right, for the bold bet.
Did.
I was close.
They did.
They definitely
did.
It's okay.
So,
all right, Jamie, give us your bold bet for this week.
I like the Texans a lot, like plus 5.5 a lot this week, expecting Tua to play. Now that Tua's been ruled out, I'm going to go all in here, and I'd say the Texans money line. And not only is it a bold bet, I've got cash on this, so I think this is going to happen.
Let's go.
I'm excited about this game. The Texans have been playing better than their record indicates. Not a lot better, but better than the record indicates. Miami is a mess right now. Jacoby Brissett's going to be check down Charlie this entire game. No Devontae Parker for Miami. And Tyrod Taylor is a more than competent quarterback. And I know a lot has been lost because of him losing his job to various rookies, from anything from getting hurt to having his lung punctured by a team doctor to like rolling his ankle. Like, it's been a weird series of events for Tyrod Taylor over these last few years. But the Texans are going to have the quarterback advantage in this matchup. And which is going to be a rare time we say that. And I think the Texans are going to have plenty of success even in Miami. I like them on the money line at almost 2-1 odds.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of good points about Tyrod Taylor. Like you said, one of my favorite books growing up, a series of unfortunate events, and that literally has been what's happened to Tyrod Taylor. Brentley, let's go to your bold bet for this week.
Yeah, this is bold, a very, very bold bet, but I'm actually going to Chicago Bears money line on Monday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, look, I don't think the Steelers are that good of a football team. I think it's only a matter of time before Big Ben starts turning the ball over at a really high clip, which he's been able to not do so far this season, but I think that's coming. I also think Justin Fields is coming off one of his best games he had in his career last week against the Niners. So I think he's starting to really build on momentum, really kind of adapt to the NFL and the speed of the game. So with him kind of hitting his stride, David Montgomery returning from injury, I think the Bears are going to be able to do enough offensively to keep this game close and ultimately pull it out. So I like the Bears here in a major upset on Monday Night Football.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And for my bold bet, all right, this might get me ran out of Washington. I do have to give that disclaimer, but it's okay. I can live anywhere, right? I just need a computer and Wi-Fi nowadays. But I am going to give my bold bet for this week. I have the Cowboys winning by 16 to 20 points at plus 500 on points bet. Yes, I said it, DC. Again, this is a show unbiased, but again, liking their odds in this game. All right. So we have
might not be able to live in Denver either. So you got to rule out Denver and DC.
That's true. That's true, you guys. I am going to just have to find housing. So if anybody wants to help a girl out, I am here. But Washington fans, look, calm down, all right? It's a bye week. Enjoy yourselves. Relax, all right? There needs to be no disappointment this week, all right, in DC. Jamie and Brentley, as always, this has been a fun show. That will do it for this week's episode of The Money Down. Thanks so much to all of you all for watching. We appreciate all of our loyal viewers and listeners, and we hope to see you back next week on Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time sharp. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. The NFL Money Down Show will be here each and every Sunday morning. And also on Saturday morning, check out the college football edition of this show at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday mornings. And also, you all, please, please, please don't forget, hit subscribe, check us out, and good luck to all of you all right, with all of your odds. See you all next week. Have a great one. Bye, guys.